Hello, you action figure enthusiasts out there. JC here with another T&I toy review. And today's review is in association with JediInsider.com, your #1 news source for everything Star Wars. And for today's review, I'm going to be taking a look at the brand new Star Wars Toybox TIE Fighter and Pilot set from Disney. Now this is the second vehicle they've done for the Star Wars Toybox line. It is being sold as a Disney Store exclusive. On the front of the packaging, you've got an image of the actual toy, and then you've got the figure clearly displayed in a window box off to the side. You also have the Star Wars Toybox and Disney logos. On one side of the packaging, you've got an image of the figure, the TIE Pilot, and then on the other side, you've got an image of the TIE Fighter. And then on the back of the packaging, you have more images of the toy showing off the various features and everything. And then also it gives you a look at the other vehicle they've done, which is the Millennium Falcon with Han Solo and Chewbacca. All right, let's get this open and take a look at what's inside. Okay, so here's a look at the TIE Fighter outside the packaging along with the TIE Fighter Pilot figure. Now I'm going to set the figure off to the side for a few minutes here while we take a look at the TIE Fighter. And there is some minor assembly when you first take it out of the packaging. Primarily, you've just got to attach the wing panels. And all you've got to do is you've got the hole here on the inner side of the panel, and you just push it in there on the sides there, and they should just pop into place. There really isn't a right or a left. You just want to make sure the holes are facing inward, and then you just push and they should click into place, and that's really it. Now you also have these missiles that are done with kind of a green translucent plastic that you can put in these little holes here on the front, and they'll actually fire. There's a button you can push, I'll show you in a second, that can fire. I don't like the look of the missiles because they kind of stick out, so it's really up to you. That's an added play feature, but it's up to you whether you want to display it with or without the missiles. And like I said, there are these buttons up here on the top, and so you just push these and it fires those missiles, and it fires the missiles pretty good. And I'll fire the missiles at the camera so you can see it better. So again, you can see it fires pretty good, but as for display purposes, my preference is to leave the missiles off of it. Now also you'll notice here you've got these little translucent pieces of plastic underneath the cockpit. Those are additional lasers, so this is kind of reminiscent of the old classic Kenner TIE Fighter toy. So there's a button on the back here. In fact, there's an entire handle here, and again, that's kind of in keeping with the old classic Kenner TIE Fighters. They had the handles that actually stuck out the back, and then you would have a button and you could push it and it would activate the lasers. Now in the old days, the lasers were red. Now they're green, but if you hit this button here on the handle, you can see, and you actually get accurate sounding laser fire as well. So it sounds like an actual TIE Fighter from the movie. So I think that's pretty cool. And then you also, this handle actually turns, and there's a little grip handle here. So what you want to do, and let me just pull the camera back a little bit so you can get a better look at this. But what you want to do is you squeeze this handle, and the TIE Fighter like spins around like you see in the movies, usually right before they crash. But you also get that TIE Fighter sound, that roaring sound. So that's pretty cool as well. So definitely, I think this TIE Fighter has some nice play features to it. I got it upside down now, but I think it's got some nice play features to it, very reminiscent to the old Kenner line, only improved because you're getting accurate movie sounds with the TIE Fighter as well. So that's something I really like about this vehicle. Now it does have a cockpit. You can lift this top up, and there is a place to put a figure inside. Now there's a little clip here, so you can pull this up and you can put your figure there. Now the one downside to this is that this TIE Fighter is not in true scale with the figure. These figures stand about 5 inches in height, and so basically it's just made so you can stick the figure in the cockpit like that, and his head continues to stick out. So you can't actually fit the figure inside the cockpit, which would be cool, but you know, this is done more of a kind of a cutesy type toy as opposed to a movie accurate toy. So, you know, I don't think it's too bad. You know, something along the lines of Funko Pop figures and stuff, I think is what they were kind of going for, where you've got the figures sitting on top of the vehicles and things like that. So, you know, that being said, you know, I would have rather they made it a little bigger so you could actually fit the figure inside, but I understand what they were trying to go with. Now, you've got just black on the top here. It's not translucent plastic. Same with the windshield here on the front. It's done with black black plastic. It's not translucent, so you can't actually see inside. You've got some sculpting detail on the wings like we always see with TIE fighters, and then the rest is done with just a gray plastic. There's really no decals or any kind of real paint detail with this. It's just the gray plastic with the black paneling, and then the black on the top and the black on the windshield. Now real quick, I just want to point out, I'd said this front window was a solid black, and it turns out it is actually semi-translucent plastic. It's a very dark plastic with a very dark tint, but like if I put my finger up to the plastic on the inside here, you can actually see my finger through it. So it is a translucent plastic. It's not a solid black. Okay, now on to the figure. Now, first thing I want to note about this figure is that when I first took it out of the packaging, I noticed that he has very loose joints, and it is something that you'll sometimes come across with these Toybox figures. Not all of them, but some of them. My Iron Man figure ended up with very loose joints, and this one, like I said, right off the bat, has very loose joints, especially here with the legs. You can see the legs won't even stay up without falling back, and that does make it kind of hard to keep him standing. You can get him to stand for the most part, but like I said, because of those loose joints, it's definitely makes it a little more difficult. And I don't know if the loose joints are just with my TIE Fighter pilot or if that's going to be a problem with all of them, but it is something you should be wary of. Now, if you're not familiar with the Toybox line, these are loosely based on the old Disney Infinity figures that they did for the video game. These figures are not actually associated with the game, but that's what they're loosely based on. So they do have a more cartoony feel to them, but overall detailing on it is pretty nice, seems pretty accurate to other TIE Fighter pilot figures that we've seen from companies like Hasbro. You've got those Imperial markings on his helmet done with the white, also on both shoulders. And then he's got the breathing apparatus with the hose, and the hose is done with a rubber type material. And this apparatus, this chest piece, you've got the little blue and white and red and gray lights that are painted on there. And then this is actually attached to this chest piece that is actually a separate piece from the rest of the figure. This glossy black that you see on the chest area is actually a separate piece. I haven't tried getting the head off on these figures. I don't know, it doesn't seem like it's super easy, but if you could pop this head off, then you could take this piece off if you wanted to. In fact, you'd have to pop the head off because the hoses are actually attached to the helmet, so you couldn't take this chest piece off without removing the helmet. Now, the rest of the figure is done with that flat black. You do have the metallic silver on the belt buckle, and he has that Imperial belt buckle like we always see, and he does have a gun holster, but it's not usable, and in fact, he doesn't actually come with any kind of weapon accessory, so even if it was usable, you wouldn't have anything to use it with. And then the rest of the figure, you've got the glossy black on the boots and the gloves, and that matches with this chest piece and the helmet nicely, and then the rest is done with just the flat black. So overall, other than having the loose joints, I think they've done a pretty good job with this figure and capturing the likeness of the TIE Fighter pilot. Okay, so this figure stands just a little bit over 5 inches tall. And then the TIE Fighter itself, if you count to the top of the wings, is just a little bit over 7.5 inches tall. The cockpit comes up to about 5.5. And here's a comparison with some other Disney Star Wars Toybox figures. So we've got the First Order Stormtrooper, Darth Vader, and Boba Fett. Now, articulation on this figure is pretty basic and pretty much the same that we've seen with the other figures in the line. Now, with the head movement, he doesn't have a whole lot of head movement. You can really only turn the head a little bit, about that much, and has no back or forth movement at all. Now with the arms, you can get the arm out pretty good. You've got good rotation there at the shoulder. You only get a single hinged elbow with these. You do have rotation at the elbow, and you have rotation with the hands. You also have hinges on the hands, so you get up and down movement. You get a waist swivel with these. With the legs, you can do the splits really good, and then you can get the leg forward and back really good. You do not have a thigh swivel with these, and you only get a single hinged knee, so you can bend the knees about that much. And then you have rotation at the knee. And then with the feet with these, you have hinges, so you have back and forth movement, and you do get ankle pivot, and no peg holes on the bottom of the feet. Okay, so that's my review. So overall, I would say this is a pretty fun toy. I really like the features on the TIE Fighter itself. I like the lights and the movie accurate sounds. I also like how you can make it spin around with the handle on the back, and it even has missile firing action, which is pretty cool. Now, the overall detailing on the TIE Fighter is pretty basic. You've just got the gray plastic with the black paneling and everything, but still overall, I think this is a fun toy that both kids and adults can enjoy. The features are very reminiscent to me of the old classic classic Kenner line. Now the figure, it does have loose joints, at least mine does. Hopefully that is just something with mine, but otherwise I think it's nicely detailed, and if you're a fan of the Toybox line, I think you'll definitely like the figure as well. Now this set is available now. It is a Disney Store exclusive, available at both the physical stores and online. We'll have a full image gallery up at JediInsider.com. There'll be a link in the video description below. As always, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If you're so inclined, please like the video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel by hitting that button down below. You should also hit the bell notification so you're alerted every time I upload a new video. And of course, you can also follow me on my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts. I have links to all those in the video description as well. And until next time, guys, I'll catch you later.